There was, but not to the degree, and the catalyst for the sort of revival of big interest in singing was, I think, Féile na Bóinne, which was 1975, 1976 in Drogheda. Sean Corcoran and people up there, Jim McArdle, they had organised a singing weekend up there, and like a lot of the singers from the north I had never heard before in reality. Eddie Butcher, Joe Holmes, Geordie Hanna, people like that. Now, I would have knowledge of the singers in Clare from my involvement with my brother-in-law Tom Munley, and also from the singers in Roscommon and Sligo, from going up to Boyle in County Roscommon when John Riley was alive. But this is the first time, and that was a huge change happened. Up to that, to a degree, singers, and Frank Hart went on about this at length, that they weren't getting a fair go because musicians would tear away and they'd play reels and reels and reels, and as I said, with just one jig maybe, and if you got a hornpipe it was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so then people started to feel the need that where singers could gather to sing, and the thing did happen where singers would sort of be at a session and you get a chance maybe every 3/4 of an hour to sing a song and do a crowd, and then so they started to gravitate maybe to go to another room where you'd be able to think, like, and you might say Frank Hart and Paddy Tunney, for instance, would say somebody would say Frank Hart and Paddy Tunney are down in a room behind the bar, and they're saying, oh, so all of a sudden there would be a big move that people are interested in songs to do that. But there wasn't a huge thing, and then the whole singing thing started then, where people decided that they would like to get together to sing songs, and because of it, they didn't feel they were getting a fair go, and that's my perception of it anyway. In the basement of Slattery's in Capel Street, well, it wasn't primarily unaccompanied, but as it happened, we didn't play instruments and we sang like anything. But Andy Murdoff and Tom Leach, the late Tom Leach, they had been going to Flannakeols since maybe the mid-50s, and they knew a lot of songs, and the song I always remember, Andy Murdoff is the Bantry Girls Lament, and Tom Leach was the hackler from Grouse Hall. You know, yeah, and sing that, you know, and Kevin Kniff as well is another man who used to be around in those days singing. But the real sort of move for singing clubs as such, I think, that's my opinion, was the Féile na Bóinne, you know, in the 70s. You know, in the late 60s, there was a couple of attempts to set up singing sessions here in Dublin, because I remember Andy Murdoff, Tom Leach, Tom Crean, myself, Tom Munley, we tried to set up a club called the Listeners Club, and that was in the basement of Slattery's. And as a matter of fact, my late wife Anne, she had a book of the list. I think it was a shilling people paid in, and with the shillings all marked down who was there and not what they sang but what they paid and all at that time. That went on, but it faded after a while for various reasons. I can't remember why, but there was. And so I think, as far as I know, that was the first sort of club that tried to set itself up for singers to go together, you know.